So I've been wanting to watch this Netflix movie for quite some time. I finally got to it this weekend. The Abandoned. Have you been abandoned? Let's find out. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing The Abandoned. What's it about? Pretty simple premise. We open up with a girl with weird flashbacks, and she's like, I'm ready to commit suicide. I'm ready to commit suicide. Boom! Someone slams on the hood, and she's like, bam! She misses. What she finds, there's a dead body in a creek/ravine, if you want to put it that way. And now they got to figure out who is doing these horrific crimes, cutting hearts out, cutting off the ring fingers, the vein of love. Let's figure out who is statistical even a word, this cynical serial killer wants, and what is he really after. So, did I like this movie? I thought it was a pretty good movie. I know for a fact when looking at Netflix, it did say it was like nominated for 12 awards. It was in Taipei, if not mistaken. I think it's a good movie. It is a serial killer movie you've seen before. Cops going after the serial killer and all the in-between whistles and bells do, mimic other movies. But I do think the backstories of some of these characters, how the acting is, and who we're getting involved with this, and the actual commentary about, foreign workers is very interesting for a movie like this. So talking about the positives, it's a dark and gritty show, and I really enjoyed that part of it. It does make you think about, some fucked up shit. It had some Seven-ish to it, some insomnia, and it did have some good new-ish stuff to it about cutting the heart out, putting this to the workers, the migrant workers, and you're like, okay, this is a fun little story that actually can be universally told, because it's not like this is the only country in the world that has foreign workers. America, probably Italy, probably UK, I don't know, probably China, but illegally. Oh, and they're all kind of illegal if they're not part of that, right? They're illegal aliens for a reason. Anyway, duh. So I do like how they decide to put that route, because on some levels it is harder to find a crime because they're not really in the system with fingerprints and who they really are. Yes, you might have that person's from Thailand, that person's from Vietnam, that person's from Bangladesh or something. But when it comes to that, if they're not in the system, it's going to be really hard to figure out who these people are and how they actually got into the country. That's kind of the same way that we're doing with America right now with the southern border. It's like, you have people come from China, Africa, and other South American countries, actually not Mexico. So it's actually, when you think about who's actually coming from the southern border, it's very, very interesting. You'll be shocked how many non-Hispanics really are there. But anyway, when going to this story, I do like the backstory of this suicide, because there is interesting connecting the dots, especially with something that happens in the middle of the movie and then something happens in the beginning. You go, okay, I understand how there's PTSD/trauma with what is occurring with this storyline. I found it very interesting. Yes, you could say that you wish it kind of dug deeper into why the suicide did happen, but sometimes you don't need to know how a suicide happened, or you will never know, because sometimes people just do it because they're mentally just unstable, and it's unfortunate with some of the people in that realm. There are interesting team-ups in this movie, which you could say, okay, that's interesting that they're doing that, but is that believable? I don't know. I don't know how the police force works and how what they called when you're an informant, even though it's not really an informant, this person, trying to help the cops figure out who the murderer is. It's very interesting that way. And also with this, you could call this kind of fucked up, but it's kind of real life, where there's something in this story that literally goes, the major cop, the captain or whatever, says, I should not have two women on the team together. That's true. There are plenty of videos out there nowadays where, remember there's I want to say New York cops, 4 females that could not bring down a male. People need to realize there's a difference between male and female. And this movie kind of does that, where it's like, look, there were 2 of you and an unexperienced male who could not get this bad guy, stole your gun, and did something. Unfortunately, that's true with strength and how life works. So this whole story where it's like, oh, females can do the same thing as males can. Unfortunately, they can't. And that's okay. There's some things women can do, and there's some things men can't do. So with this storyline of saying there shouldn't be 2 women paired up doing patrols together, it kind of makes sense, because there's way too many facts, way too many videos, way too many things that have occurred to say that it's okay for that to happen. This is not sexist. It's just facts. And, there's nothing wrong with a male and female going out together because there isn't. So, yes, some negatives you could say there is some melodrama at the very end where you're like, okay, I know where this is going. And I'm not a fan where things go to black, then 2 seconds later something comes on the screen. This did it a couple times at the end, and I'm like, come on now. Let's not act like Lord of the Rings and have 17 different endings. Let's just have a good ending and call it quits. And also, like I said, the story is kind of a been there, done that. You know that what is going to occur. There is a creepy aspect to it with something that happens in a room that's completely psychotic with pictures. That's all I'm going to say. And it's a good little, I want to call it a chef's kiss, but it's something different. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty fucked up. That's some fucked up shit right there. So overall, The Abandoned is a well-crafted movie. It's dark. It's gritty. It has nice 7 elements to it of taking hearts out and having good team-ups overall and good connecting the dot moments and things that do occur in real life that you think, you're like, yeah, that's something that someone should truly think about when going forward. And of course, negative, you can say it's been there, done that on some levels, but there is enough interesting backstories and just pacing a million miles a minute doesn't keep you bored to make this a positive watch. So The Abandoned will receive a 4 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 80%. So see the critics' news scores gave this one. So interesting, we have audience score 58 with fewer than 50 and one reviewer giving it a 50. So 50, 58, 80. Chase Lee Hockey here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more things, Futontopia. You Futonians, thanks for watching. Have a great day. And I don't care if you watch this today, tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, every single freaking one of you. Hey, I liked it. Sue me.